So I'm with Bill Shipley, Team Woody Racing. I'm going to speak to them a little bit about racing here. Obviously, we know what a boat race is, but I want to get a little bit more intricate, try to get really cut into some of the things that these guys do and get some understanding. My name is Lawrence McFerrin, Lawrence M. Action Photography. So basically, what class of boat is this right here?
So the class boat, bracket class 300, our speed limit is limited to 95 miles an hour. And so in the bracketed classes, we don't have to do all the specifications, the weight, the horsepower, the RPM, the drives. We don't have any of that. Our brackets are basically do whatever you want to your boat, as long as it's safe, and then stay under 95 miles an hour.
Okay, and what mechanism are you using within the boat to restrict that speed?
Right, so we have a V-box GPS box, antennas up on the top of the hatch there, and then iPad on the dash communicates Bluetooth to that, and we can watch the speed from that GPS on the dash. And then Chad, my throttle man, Chad Woody, just controls the throttle, and his job is to watch that speed and control that throttle to make sure we don't go over that.
Okay, and if there should be a time where you exceed the minimum speed, what's the repercussion for that, or is there a threshold of, you can do it a little bit but not?
I believe in this organization, I believe it's up to 3 seconds over.
Yes.
You have to stay within that 3 second threshold. But then also there's a 3 second total breakout. So if you go over that, you could go over that 10 times during the race, but it adds up to 3 seconds or more over your bracket, then you're disqualified.
Okay.
And so if you go over it all and they catch it when they read the GPS later on the system in the computer, then it disqualifies you to last place. And then so if everyone breaks out, whoever broke out the longest, they call it a breakout. Whoever does that the longest would be last place, and then you start moving back up the list. That's it. So you don't really lose, you just get, you don't get first place, second place. So you could have a guy that goes out there and races the race at 10 miles an hour under the speed, and if everyone else goes over the speed, then that guy wins. So that's how that all works out. So the key is to stay under the speed, or right at it,
And where are you guys, what's your home state?
So we're from just outside of Fort Worth, Texas. Chad and I have been racing for, I think it's our 8th year here in Michigan City. So we've been racing for a while. A couple of different boats. This is the most current one we have. We've had a few boats before this, and we still have the first race boat we bought, we still have that in the shop at home, and sometimes we'll bring it out from time to time. But yeah, we've been together in the boat, him and I, together every single race, all those years.
And what
together.
is his position within the boat?
He's the throttle man, and watches the speed basically, and then gauges, and then he does all the trim and stuff too. As I'll tell him in the helmets, we have intercoms, and so I'll tell him what I'm feeling in the boat. Need to trim it up, trim it down. Hey, we're getting to a turn, because he's watching the speed here, not looking out the window. And so when there's a turn coming, I will tell him, turn, 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 turn. So then he slows the boat down some for the turn, and then he can look up and see what's going on.
Okay.
And once we exit the turn, he'll get back on the GPS again. Sorry.
Okay. Do you guys wear helmets?
We do. We have helmets on, life jackets on. We have an air system in the boat in case something happens and we're upside down. We have air regulators and stuff with this. So this morning we went and did the dunker test at the high school. We get in the pool in a simulator boat, and they flip it upside down, and we have to rescue ourselves out of there with divers and stuff. So yeah.
So to be able to operate this and to be a racer, do you have to have any special certifications to be, to be the driver or a throttle?
Yeah, there's no special certifications for it. Pass physical, get a DOT physical from your doctor, register to race with the race organization, whichever one you're going to race with. Do all the medical stuff on there, fill out all that, register that stuff, register your boat with the organization, whatever class you're going to race in, and then you show up to the race, and then you just the dunker test you got to do. So we do a simulator dunker, and it's a canopy simulator, about half this canopy, and then we get inside there, flip it upside down the pool, and then we have to breathe and then basically rescue ourselves out of that canopy. Once you pass all those things and you pass tech inspection and safety inspection, then you're free to race.
So is that canopy removable?
Not this one. No, this canopy it's made onto the boat. And there's other open canopy boats too. So your normal person that wants to come out here like we were 10 years ago, if your boat's fast, you think you can keep it in that bracket and you can run the engines that hard for 45 miles straight in water conditions that we never know what they're going to be, If your boat will handle that, then you can bring that boat here and have it inspected, and if it inspects to race, then you can race it.
Okay.
It's really easy to get into it.
And if someone was going to get into this, without me specifically asking how much your boat costs, how much would it cost to have a basic setup for a boat to be able to race? And do you get to go straight to the pro class, or do you have to graduate through different classes of racing?
No, you can go to whatever class you want to. You can buy a Super Cat and start racing Super Cat. You can buy the Class 1 boat and start racing that. I wouldn't recommend it. You need some experience in the water. But some guys that have 20 years of boating experience, doing pleasure boating or poker runs, they'll jump right into racing sometimes. The pricing of these boats, I mean, you can buy a boat for $5,000 and start racing it. Like I said, if it will handle conditions and it pass inspection and qualifies for the organization, then you can race that. Or you can have a boat up to, there's a couple of $1 million worth of boats here, each. Our particular boat, we didn't pay much for this boat. I mean, it's within a couple $100,000 range, But then also you have to understand too that whenever you do get into racing, like I said, it's rough out there, so things break all the time, and so the maintenance program to keep one of these things running is pretty excessive sometimes. We just put new motors in this boat this year. We broke one in St. Pete in the first race of the season. Broke a piston, a rod, or something. We don't know yet. We've taken it apart, and so we built brand new engines. Those are $100,000 motors in there. So not each, but total is $100,000. And so the maintenance of it is kind of where, bring on another 1,000. They say with boats, that's the whole cliche about it. It's more like bring on another 10,000 when you're racing, because something breaks every single weekend. And you just have to go home, fix it, do what you got to do. Sometimes it's simple stuff. Sometimes it's engines that break. Or out drives, or we had the bottom torn off of our boat in Clearwater Beach 3 years ago. Ripped half the bottom off of it. That took 5 months to fix. Had to de-rig the whole boat, turn it upside down. They ground the entire bottom off and then laid a whole new bottom on it for us. And so we had to put it back together after that. So, that's one thing. If you're going to get into racing, you understand it's not as simple as just, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone, I just want you to understand the transparency of it, is you need to be prepared to work on your stuff, So and if you're a mechanical guy like my brother and I are, we do all of our own work. I have a guy.
Your brother?
No, that's my best friend. My brother stayed home. He's our crew chief, but he had to stay home this weekend with his wife. She's not feeling good. So anyway, we do all the work in my shop, and then we have a guy that builds our engines for us. So we'll take it out, take it to a shop, he builds them, and then brings it back, and we put them in. So that helps a lot with financial part of it, is we're able to do a bunch of stuff ourselves, Some of these bigger teams, they have full-time mechanics on staff that work year-round in their shops on their boats,
Yeah, I was actually going to go there next. I was going to ask you, do you call it a pit crew?
Yeah, you call it a crew. Yeah, it's all pit crews or team crews and race crew, whatever you want to call it. But for us, it's usually we have a whole production. We have our trailer with us. We have our boat. All our stuff's in our trailer. But we're busy working our real jobs, and so we're just in and out this race.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, more of a hobby and a sponsorship deal.
Okay.
We're construction workers by trade, which most of the people racing are some type of construction. Or manufacturing.
Do different classes of boats have different minimum speeds?
Yes. So there's, on the bracketed classes, there's Class 2, Class 3, Class 4, Class 5, Class 6, Class 7. And it goes from 60 miles an hour in Class 7 to Class 2 is 95 miles an hour. So in between there, 65, 75, 85, 90, and 95. And the number will tell you, like we got 327, you'll see a 5-something boat, a 610, or a 720.
What are those
the first
mean?
number is the bracketed class they're in.
Okay.
So we're in Class 300, and then there's Class 700 and so on. So yeah.
Okay. And
we've raced almost all those classes with different boats over the years. Yeah.
Okay. And if you should acquire pole position, does the winner in a quals that gets pole position, do you get to pick where you want to line up?
No, you line up in that position.
Okay, now.
I prefer not to be in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with next. So now, could weather conditions, water conditions, even though you got that position, it's not necessarily the best position to be in.
No, I don't think so. A lot of guys, they want it. They work hard to get it. They qualify hard to get that pole position. In some classes it does make a difference. I prefer not to be there because it's the inside lane, and when you get to the turn, you're squeezed in on the turn, which means if these guys come in on you on that turn buoy, you have to slow down more
yes.
to not hit them. Depending on water conditions. When it's flat like this, and I go into that turn at 90 miles an hour, the boat slides out, and so I don't want to hit someone. So I prefer to be in a position to where I can determine where I want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And usually that's on the outside. If there's
Okay.
if there's 10 boats, obviously you don't want to be on the outside. But there's 3 or 4 of us.
Yes.
It's fine for me to be out there. And then you just get out of that first turn because everyone goes in it together. And then once you're out of that first turn, the boats they seem to separate in distance, so then you can maneuver better. But I don't like being squeezed in. I don't like being on the inside. There's a chance if you get squeezed too hard, you go inside the buoy and you're penalized a minute, you know, or you have to hit a boat or, you know, whatever. And so I just don't like to be in it personally. Other guys, they love to be there. You know?
Now, is there a crew person or a race official that communicates with you guys what lap you're on, or do you
No.
guys keep track of that?
We pull tape on our boat. We put pieces of tape on the dash across the top of the canopy, and I pull those off as we do our laps, and that's how we count laps. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we get to the end, if there's 2 or 3 pieces of tape, maybe we forgot to pull some. We just keep going until we see the flag. Sometimes you run an extra lap, sometimes you don't, you know. But you don't want to stop early because you did not finish, you know.
I got you.
So
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in that boat where sometimes you just forget to pull tape, especially whenever you're in 5 or 6 foot waves, you know, and you're trying to run your speed and not wreck. Sometimes you forget to pull the tape. You
Okay,
know?
so now when you guys do you do a whole season?
We do about 8 races a year.
Okay, and one of the questions I had interviewed Dirty Money yesterday, and I forgot to ask him, but I'm going to ask you. So when you're in between races, right? So you're done here, and maybe what would be the layover that you would have before the next race?
So from here, we're going to go to Clearwater Beach, Florida, and that's September 24th. So about 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
Okay.
So we'll go home and we'll work on stuff.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you get a chance to go home,
Yes,
take a
sir.
break? Okay.
Yep.
Now, when you're at home and this is quote unquote put up, do you have like a big hangar, a big garage?
We have a couple buildings, big shops, yes, sir. Tools, everything we need to work on, everything, you know, overhead lifts and forklifts and stuff to make sure make it easy, you know, because everything's heavy in the engine. So, yeah, we have all the full operation
Okay.
over the years, yeah.
I think we beat it up pretty good.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes,
All
sir.
right, yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yep.